Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Camilla Ray, and today I'm going to be sharing with you my journaling routine. So I've been keeping up a consistent journaling routine for since August or July now, and I've seen some really great benefits. Yeah, if you want to see, just keep watching. So I started journaling back in August or maybe the end of July, and well, I've always tried to journal, but I don't know if anyone else has ever experienced this. But in the past, when I used to journal, I used to self it was just hard for me to journal because it was hard for me to be honest with myself. I would go to write something in my journal and be like, oh, how does this sound? Or I would kind of police myself a little bit, oh, what if someone reads this? What are they gonna think? Or oh, I don't want to say this because that's just really I'm not ready to face that or something. I've been getting better at being honest with myself, and I feel like journaling is a great way to do that. And it also provides a daily activity for me to be able to feel seen, heard, accepted. I might not be able to tell it to anyone else, but I can always write it in my journal. Also, when I write things down, it makes them feel you ever think something in your head and you keep going over it, then you say it out loud to someone, and as soon as you say it out loud, it's oh, actually it doesn't seem as big as it seemed in my head. So that's kind of how journaling is for me. When I write something down, it doesn't seem as big. Sometimes journaling does help me work through things that I'm going through in my head, but sometimes it's just being able to be honest and open with myself and provide a safe space for me to do that. And I also tend to think a lot at night, so journaling at night really helps me kind of empty my mind before I go to bed. So maybe I'll share my nighttime routine with you first. I like having my morning and nighttime journal separate because my nighttime journal is just kind of a space where I just say anything. It's free flowing, not really a point. I can be as negative as I want or anything like that. But my morning journal is kind of gratitude log, positive affirmations, things to get my mind ready for the day, self-awareness, kind of more structured. So I like to keep them separate. So this is my nighttime journal. I got this from Muji, and I got it blank in the front because in my head I was gonna decorate it or draw whatever I wanted on it, and I might still do that, but I've had this for a few months and I haven't done anything. I kind of like it being blank because it's just whatever you need this journal to be today, that's what it will be. So at night I usually just write anything that's been on my mind. I just reflect on the day, things that were good that happened, things that were bad that happened, anything that might have been bothering me or anything that I was really happy about. I just write them here, and yeah, that's basically it. I just write whatever I want, and I like to do it kind of as the last thing that I do before I go to bed. And again, it just provides a space for me once a day to be completely seen and heard. And also it helps me empty all this stuff in my head out before I go to bed. So yeah, that's the nighttime one. This is my morning journal. It just says adventures, and I like that it was green and gold because those are colors of abundance for me, and this is kind of my manifestation and positive affirmations and gratitude journal. So yeah, this one is a bit more structured, so it might be more interesting. So when I first started journaling, the first thing that I would put at the top of the page is how do I feel today? And I haven't always been the best at being emotionally present with myself. One thing that my therapist taught me was the concept of wise mind. So emotional mind is just when you're just in your feeling, but you're not identifying that, and you might be acting based on those emotions, but you're not aware of it because you're just fully in the emotion. And then rational mind is obviously not taking your emotions into consideration or anyone else's emotions into consideration, and just being really calculated. And so wise mind is combining the two. One way you can do that is by observing yourself. I'm feeling this is inherently in wise mind because you are characterizing your emotions based on your rational mind. So I'm not sure if that really makes sense to anyone, but it's definitely a way to help yourself equilibrate. And for me, like the act of observing yourself automatically means you can't be like drowning in how you feel, and like it helps you be self-aware because like you're identifying yourself, if that makes sense, and then from there you can make decisions about your actions in a more informed way where you're taking all of yourself into consideration, I guess. So, anyways, back to the main point. So at the top, I would write today I feel, and over time, I've adjusted that. So now I break it down a bit more into like, okay, how do I feel mentally? How do I feel physically, emotionally, and spiritually? So, like, mentally, I might write that I feel alert, or I might write that I feel foggy, or I might write anxious or clear headed. Maybe if I can find like a worksheet of different ways to characterize your feelings, like different adjectives for that, I'll put it in the description box, because when I first started doing this, it was really hard. And even sometimes now, I struggle to be able to identify my feelings. Next, I put like physically how I'm feeling. And the reason I like doing this is because I can get like really anxious and like get like stuck in my head sometimes, and again, the act of like observing my body helps me to like lower my presence into like my whole being, and instead of just like my mental capacity. It kind of prompts me to do like a body scan and see how I'm feeling. Some days I feel well rested, or some days I feel like groggy. Some days I feel like really strong, or some days I feel like bloated, or um, sometimes I have headaches, or sometimes like my head feels really good. So I like to note those things, and then from there I can kind of tailor the rest of my morning to like, okay, this is how I'm feeling and how am I going to approach my day based on where I'm starting from. And then also I like to do emotionally. So like I feel happy, or I feel sad, or I feel nostalgic, or I feel excited. Things like that I put down. Um, and then spiritually, I usually put like um, either I feel aligned, and like I never really talk about like my spirituality, so it's a bit hard for me to like, I guess, put into words. Um, but usually I just write either I feel aligned or connected, or I feel like disconnected and disaligned. And usually when my mood is lower, then that's when I write like disconnected or disaligned. But also, like, I try not to make myself, I try not to steer clear of contradictions. Like, I might feel like mentally fresh but physically tired, and I try to be as honest as possible when I'm putting this here. Sometimes I can kind of like self-critique, but I try to be as honest as possible. And like sometimes I can feel like shit, like I can feel like really sad, like tired and mentally drained, but also still spiritually aligned, as if like I know that I'm still on the right path, and this is like a moment that will pass or something. So yeah, the next thing I write is like I have a little gratitude log, and I just try to think of 5 things that I'm grateful for. Usually they're pretty random, like I had a burger yesterday, so I wrote that down. And I honestly write anything. Sometimes I write the same things over and over. One thing about like gratitude logs is sometimes I kind of am like, dang, maybe I should write something like more grand than just like the new candle I got yesterday. But honestly, it's important to be grateful for every single thing we have. And so whatever comes to mind, I just write that down. And then I have a few that I always go to if I am having a hard time thinking of anything, like sunlight, breath, like my room, um, like my connection to God, or anything like that. Um, and I always just like to write thank you at the end, because again, this is kind of me like getting into a space of gratitude, and I like approaching my day from that standpoint of, like abundance instead of lack. And then after that, I write some affirmations down, and usually these are things that I'm trying to focus on for the day, or like things that are on my mind. At first, I used to write a lot of affirmations, and I used to write them based on my chakras. So I would start with like root chakra affirmations and go all the way up to like crown chakra affirmations. So like I'm safe, I'm worthy, I'm I'm independent, I'm loved, I'm valuable, I'm wise, I'm connected. And those were really like the basic ones that I would write, and then I would branch off from there. So I feel like those are some pretty good ones to start with if you've never really written affirmations. And then I would just personalize them from there and kind of change, reword them like all like on different days. Now I don't write as many every day, but I do like try to write three that I want to focus on specifically for the day. And sometimes they repeat from day to day, or like sometimes I change them. So on this day, I wrote, I'm whole and complete now. I am prioritizing my health now. I'm questioning my inner critic. And so this week, I was kind of working on questioning my inner critic when it comes up. So I wrote that there. And then also, like, I've been getting back to like meal planning and like workout routines, and that's been really important and beneficial to me, so I wrote that there. And I this is just like a little tip. I write now because sometimes I can write affirmations and be like, yeah, in the future, like I like in my head I'm like, in the future I'll be whole and complete. But it's really important, or it's important for me to remind myself like now, like this is what I am now. So I kind of write that there and like emphasize that for my brain. And then also I started writing like an intention for the day. And at one point I was writing like goals, and I would write like, I want to get this done, and this done. Um, or I would write like kind of a brain dump. I don't, on mornings that I need to do a brain dump, I definitely do write it here. But for the most part, I write my intention here. So the reason I write an intention instead of a goal is because I do have a planner for the day that I write like my to-do list down and stuff. Um, and I like to keep that separate from this. And the reason I like intentions better is because I feel as though like intentions are more so based on feelings than actions. And for me, I know I need to feel a certain way in order to act a certain way. I know not everyone is like this, but for me, it's important to like bring myself back to a certain like mental and emotional and physical state of being that I can then act from. And so having an intention reminds me to always come back to that same state of being. And it also like helps me not beat myself up over like if I don't get everything done on my to-do list, or like even if I didn't do anything today, if I stuck to this intention, like that was something, I guess, like something that I was working on all day. So today, the intention that I wrote was my intention was to invite my inner voice of criticism and judgment into my heart space and offer it compassionate acceptance. So again, this is something I've been working on, particularly this week. It's been in my mind of just like, I don't know, sometimes I don't get everything done on my to-do list. I'm like, oh my God, I'm so lazy or something like that. And then I'll be like, oh my God, and I'm criticizing myself. That's so bad. And it'll be this like endless cycle of like criticizing myself. And so I'm just working on like, I guess, accepting that part of myself and offering it a better way to be, or like a way that feels better. But yeah, and then at the end I also just like to give my gratitude. So say thank you again. I write hearts and stuff. Sometimes I write other things. Today I wrote I am okay, and that was just to emphasize my wholeness and completeness to myself. um, and that's pretty much all that I write in my journal. So yeah, this has been helping me to stay aligned with what I have like set for myself to do. And again, it's a really great way for me to feel like seen, and like check in with myself at least one time every day. I think it's so important to have like habits that you stick to regularly. that give you an opportunity to take care of yourself. And I never feel worse after I journal. I always feel better. And I also try not to beat myself up if I do miss a day. Like sometimes I don't journal at night or something. And that's fine. Like it's not like a chore for me. It's like something that I'm doing for myself. And if I chose not to do it that day, like I can just make another choice the next day. That's all I have for today. I'll again I'll try to find a worksheet with like feelings, like not a worksheet, but like, you know, a list of different feelings that you can write down in the description box below. And I'll also try to find like a list of, or maybe I'll write a list of affirmations that you might be able to start with. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed. If you have a journaling routine and it's different or it's similar, let me know. I'd love to know. And thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.